Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have chosen to hang with the Hayters. And how cool is that? We appreciate it a bunch. And I'm here in beautiful downtown Conroe with my beautiful and lovely and charming wife, Kay, who's sitting right next to me. Kay, how cool is that also?
We are a very lucky couple.
Aren't we, Kay?
We are.
I don't. And,
blessed.
Yeah, blessed even. We've got an array of stuff to talk about. There's some personal, not issues, but personal stuff with the Hayters about stuff that's been going on, and we've had a great week since last time we met. We've got some news items. We've got some health, not issues, Kay. We don't have health issues, but
not this week, anyway.
No. But we've got some health stuff to talk about, and then I'm going to get into some science. It's fascinating, Kay, some things I have learned and shared with, and some social issues. Anyway, we've got an array of things, and it's going to sound like, in the past it has sounded like we're not very organized, and that's because we aren't, Kay. But we've got some topics
we think we're
that
organized.
we plan to get to, and sometimes we just get off on tangents, Kay, just like my articles. Which, incidentally, today's article is in the Woodlands Villager, and it's about last year, some things that we have I wrote about. In other words, last year, Kay, if you'll recall, we made resolutions for one another.
Yes.
And
yes.
None of them worked very well, Kay. But
I think I'm the we got the one mine for you.
Yes,
taken care of.
The main one for me was the coffee issue, which I'm actually drinking coffee now, and I made it in a smaller place than we have had before, thanks to Kay. Anyway, since the last time we were here, we've had experienced New Year's.
It's a new year. It's 2017, which is going to take me 12 months to get used to.
And I'll tell you what's weird about this year. The start of this year is I've actually have no trouble writing down 2017. I had trouble with 2016, but I've written some checks for 2017 back in 2016, Kay. What is that all about? It's frightening.
That's backwards from the way we usually do it.
Yeah. I don't know what other people did on New Year's. Kay and I spent it with Jill, my sister Jill. She came over to our house, and we watched a movie, which I thought was pretty good. Huntsman. This was the second Huntsman, where they have the freezing witch, or the freezing.
Yeah, Emily Blunt played the cold one.
I don't like her playing frozen people, but so many of these
frozen,
movies,
but she was mean.
Yes, frozen and mean, and she could turn things frozen. But that dadgum, who was the number one witch? Beautiful lady.
Charlize Theron.
Charlize. Who would name their daughter Charlize? I do not know. But she was really mean, but she did very good with it. That was a good movie. But we had that in Jill made hors d'oeuvres.
She did things with Ritz crackers.
And we put them in the oven.
Sweet things and savory things.
Yeah, she had some smoked turkey stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was wonderful that way. And anyway, we had a very good evening. We made it all the way through New Year's. We heard the fireworks go off and everything. And once again, we didn't explode any fireworks. Dick, did you do anything big during the to celebrate? You were actually out of town.
No, I went to Fredericksburg.
Son of
Terrific.
God.
Yeah.
Where did you stay?
I stayed with my cousin who lived in San Antonio, but he took us out to some wineries out there, and we went to a really neat place called Pontiac Wineries right there in downtown Fredericksburg. But it was just for a day. Then we just spent New Year's together at the house.
That's great.
So
no fireworks or anything?
No, the fireworks were illegal in San Antonio. So,
of course they are.
Which is interesting. So,
Dick, I'll tell you, that whole Fredericksburg area is winery rich. They've got them.
I didn't believe it until he goes, "Hey, we're gonna go check this out." I was like, "Okay, that sounds silly," but I've never been to wineries before. And it was fun with him. And the one in downtown Fredericksburg, the Pontiac, it was a family, and you can imagine how chaotic. I'm talking family. Like the kids are helping. Wow. They bring the wine glasses to you, and then the dad brings the wine to taste. And then the wife's just gave birth to another baby, so she's with the baby out in the little courtyard thing, and all his families are playing. I was like, this is really cool. I like this place. But then we went to another one that was really hoity-toity, and they were
proud of their wine.
To the point where this is what I get. This is what I don't get about wines, is they use description words.
Right.
like coffee and things like that. I was like, well, do they put coffee in it? No, we don't. I'm like, so it just smells like coffee. Yeah, so it's just a grape. Yes. And I was like, well, I guess this one smells like rubber. And I said that to the guy, and he was just like, yeah, it has a chemical smell to it. I'm like, so did you put chemicals in it? Like, I was like, how does this even work? How did y'all? It was really funny because
It's the pesticides on the grape, probably.
Oh no, it got me. Because I was confused. I wanted to know about the process because that's what they're really proud of their process.
Yeah.
But the words they use to describe are, I was like, oh, so you mixed them? No, we didn't.
We need to get Jerry Bernhardt on, and he can talk about wine. And Ron
Sikowski.
Yes, who actually was in the Courier today. If I'm not mistaken, he had a pretty, I don't know if he's on the front page, but he was in there big. And anyway, I don't drink wine. I couldn't tell you one way or the other
Me
what's
either.
good. I could probably say it's got a nutty taste, but I don't know that. Paladin K was good with wine. He could tell you what hill it was, the grapes were picked from.
Well, I don't remember
Italy.
that about Paladin.
And speaking of resolutions, Kay, did you make one?
Sort of. I've been thinking about it, and I was kind of thinking that this year you and I should try to read labels better on things that we purchase as far as where it was manufactured, particularly if it's China. And if I can find an alternative, I would like to pay a little extra and buy that instead.
That would be nice. Finding one would be very difficult.
Yeah, it may be impossible sometimes.
When you think about clothing and material, I don't know what's made in the U.S. anymore. And it's either in China or, of course, Bangladesh, and those people need help.
Vietnam.
No
I mean,
Vietnam,
I looked at a label on something the other day, and it was made in Vietnam.
One thing I did, and I don't think it's going to be a continuous thing because I just don't have the willpower, okay, is I walked yesterday for 25 minutes in a parking lot. We've got a beautiful neighborhood to walk in, but I don't like to because it draws attention and it draws dogs barking and things like that. But it does have hills, and that would be a good walk. We've got a beautiful lake, but Kay, I would rather go down to this huge parking lot business section that I could walk forever. Nobody looks at me or anything, but it's on concrete, and it's tough. But I may try that.
I was in town. He went walking without me.
Yeah. And we, yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, this will be fascinating. We met with some, not only a college friend of mine and friends of ours, but when I was, in the second grade, we moved over next to the Suttons, Johnny Sutton, and we went to college where he met Marilyn, and they're married. Marilyn happens to be the
city manager
of Livingston she's worked for Livingston, the city, for 42 years, if I'm not mistaken, but she's been the manager for over 10 years, I think, 9 years, something like that. Anyway, charming couple, and Kay, they're one of those friends we hadn't talked to in so long that when we sat down and talked, it was just like, wow.
We sort of picked up where we left off.
It was
great.
Very good.
And
it's one of those things where we say, yeah, we got to do this again, and unless we prepare and plan, we probably won't do that again.
Well, that's the way it is a lot of times. Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, our high school has a 50-year reunion coming up, and that means, Kay, your high school does.
Yep.
Mine is Pasadena High. Kay went to Rayburn, and Kay, you said you might go to yours. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I've kind of they've got a website for my graduating class, and I'm in there, and so I'm reconnecting with some folks, and it'd be good to see them again.
Wow. I know a few of your friends, and we went to my 20-year reunion, so now I guess I'm obligated to go to Kay's 50th, but I really don't want to, and I really don't want to go to my reunion. I've been notified by David Angie, a good friend of mine in high school, oh my gosh, in junior high, and Andy Smallwood, who I knew in high school. I don't think I knew him in junior high. But those things, it's one of those things where, maybe it's better remembering them the way they were, because it's definitely better if they remember me the way I was. That's weird. But anyway, that's going on. And Kay, your butterfly crop is still out there, your caterpillars and all. You've got chrysalises. What's the latest on that?
Somebody said on the news the other day that 2016 was the hottest year since weather records have been done, which I don't know, probably the last 100 years. And I guess they just average. They just do averages. I don't know how they do that. But anyway, I think that's probably true. I know our fall has been extremely warm. I have still got caterpillars on my milkweed out there, monarchs, and they're making chrysalises, and so
they have really crunched the milkweed. They have eaten everything on milkweed.
My milkweeds are bare. I don't know if they're going to make it. I'm letting Mother Nature do her thing. So
okay, that's all you can do. And I do appreciate you not bringing them in the house this time. And caterpillars, they don't defecate a lot, but you have caterpillar leavings all over the place. And I say they don't a lot. What I meant is it's not a large deposit, but there's a bunch of deposits of.
Well, it's you got to keep paper down just like you do in a bird cage.
Yep.
So
anyway, that's kind of the stuff. That's our personal life, isn't it fascinating? Kay's got some coupons she's cut out of the newspaper or kept. You don't have to cut them out anymore. You just bring them with you, which we'll probably not take advantage of. Subway, I don't go to Subway. Which Kay has a good sandwich. They're more expensive, of course, but they're very good. And I did something as a husband that I really think ought to give me some stars in my husband crown, and that is I went with Kay to see La La Land, and that was the musical.
Well, it got great press, didn't it?
When we went, Kay didn't know La La was in reference to Los Angeles.
Well, I didn't know it was set in L.A. So it was when I was sitting down, and then I saw where it was and went, oh.
Kay, speaking of La La Land, has nothing to do with the fact we've actually got a call right now.
Okay.
Our first call of the year, this being our first show of the year. This is episode 1 of 2017. Caller, you're hanging with the Hayters. This is Mark Hayter and Kay sitting over there. Please give us your name and what the heck you have to talk to us about.
Hi, Mark and Kay. This here's Wayman Smoot from out the Cut and Shoot, and I just wanted to share with you my New Year's resolution.
Wayman, how nice to hear from you. It's been actually probably 3 weeks since we last logged. And Wayman, you have a resolution, and you're calling from Cut and Shoot, as you said.
My resolution was to go back to school to further my education to get a better job.
Oh, well, that's...
But I got me a problem because I went to their new Walter White Junior High in Porter, and they said that I could not attend classes there with them kids.
Well, I guess you have to live in their school district, wouldn't you think?
Well, my home will go wherever I want it to go. It's up on wheels, so
See,
that wouldn't be a problem.
I didn't realize
they say I'm too old to go back to the 7th grade.
That sounds so sad. The 7th grade. That's as far as you went, I take it.
Yeah. I had to move on to another resolution is what I had to do.
Oh.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well,
I'm trying to lose 200 pounds of ugly fat is what I'm trying to do.
Ugly fat. So is it for you or your wife or?
I'm trying to get rid of Susie, my ugly wife. She's just a mean-spirited woman, and I'm thinking, 2017 is the good year to shed 200 pounds of trials and tribulations.
Oh, my goodness. I would like to say I wish you well in that, and, it sooner might be better, Waylon. I hate to say that, but I just read where the Texas legislature, they're trying to pass a bill to ban no fault divorce. So they might come up with something that you have to have a fault. You have to get a private investigator to check on her or something.
Susie, she's got lots of faults. I could list them off here, but we don't have time for that. I just wanted to call and wish y'all a happy New Year, and God bless Donald Trump.
Yeah, right, Wayman. I appreciate
Happy New Year, Wayman.
That so much. Thanks for the call. And man, I feel I don't know what to say about your wife. I don't know whether to bless you on that or you don't need my blessing. Susie, I know what you're up against. I know what both of you are up against, but the best with that. Wayman, thank you so much for giving us a call. First call of the new year comes from Wayman Smoot in
Cut and Shoot.
Thanks, Wayman. Next time, buddy.
Thanks. Bye.
Hang in there. 200 pounds he wants to lose, and it's no pounds we have to lose at all with respect to this thing coming up. We've got to take a break, Kay. This is our first break of 2017. I'm excited as can be, folks. We'll be back here on Hanging with the Hayters. Hang in there, folks.
Break time, people. Restrooms are in the foyer. Back in a couple of minutes with more Hanging with the Hayters.
Kay and I appreciate you checking out our archives. Don't forget, we're live every Wednesday at noon on Lone Star Community Radio. If you have any questions, please contact us on our Facebook, Hanging with the Hayters.
And the winning ticket number is 47218. Now, back to Hanging with the Hayters on irlonestar.com. Yeah.
And welcome back to Hanging with the Hayters this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. It's so nice and cool outside.
It is, Kay. We had a front come through.
Yes, we did. Overnight. Very cool. Very cool. You know, we've been talking about the end of 2016, and we've had our show now for a year.
Oh, my goodness, Kay.
This is our anniversary week.
A whole year.
Yes, it is.
We've made it this long, and we've almost got a sponsor in the can. That is, we're just about there.
We're working on it.
Yes, we are. That'll be great. Kay, this segment we're going into now, though, is the news, just current events. And I'm rather selective in it. I'm a little tentative in the mind about, and I don't even know what that means, concerning fake news that took this whole country by storm over the last year, particularly during the elections. You don't know what's real and you don't know what's not, and you have to more or less research stuff actually and consider the source. I would like to get our source of the news to be pretty dang accurate. And with that, I have actually vetted this story I'm getting ready to tell you about, and it comes out of Tampa, Florida. And listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reading it to you as it was released. A dog turned on its owner, who was trying to dress it in a sweater, biting the woman and others who tried to help her, police said. The pit bull mix named Scarface bit Brenda Guerrero on Friday in Tampa, according to the Tampa Bay Times. Police spokesman Stephen Haggerty told the newspaper that the woman was bitten on the arm after she attempted to dress Scarface in a sweater, and 2 other people got involved. And of course, is there a lesson to learn there, Kay? Do you think? I think there's some animals that probably don't want to wear a sweater.
Probably so.
In fact, let me say this. If your dog is named Scarface or Killer or Chomper, don't put anything on it, and don't tease it with stuff. Maybe that's the message there.
Well, dogs give off signals, and I guess we need to respect that. And, of course, I wasn't there, so I'm not sure. But, yeah, I'm sure she's regretting trying to do that.
I would guess. I wouldn't put a garment on any dog, and I definitely wouldn't try to give a cat a bath. There may be cats that like stuff like that, but I don't know what they are. By the way, I saw on the news something where they got this thing that you can wash your dog in, and it's specially built for doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it makes it to where it's kind of like a shower stall that's shorter. And once you get the dog in the stall, it's hard for that dog to get out. So you might want to invest a little money in that. By the way, it's not a news story, Kay. It's a letter to the editor, and I don't know what I think about it.
Okay.
It's an opinion piece, you might say, and it has to do with this. Let me read this. It's called Aimless Law. Someone wrote into the Houston Chronicle. Regarding Texas rule that denies car registration to parents who don't pay child support, he says, I don't see how this will help collect money from people who do not pay child support. All it does is reduce the amount of money the state collects for registration, inspections, and so on. Child support. Kay, how do you feel about that? Taking away the car registration for the person.
If a person wants or needs to pay child support, they need to be able to get to their job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that is that big of a,
deterrent?
Deterrent.
Yeah, all you're going to do is he doesn't have registration. I think he's going to drive his car anyway.
Yeah.
It's just my thought.
Garnishing wages works for me, and I think you can do that. So yeah. I don't know if it's necessary, really.
I've got to say this, though. Being a man, I always tend to side with the woman with respect to child support. But I tell you, if we could have some men in here who have really been taken to the proverbial cleaners on child support. Maybe they've lost their jobs or something, and I don't know what the problem there is.
I'm sure you can hear horror stories from both sides.
From both sides, Kay. So I don't know how I feel about that.
People are people, and
Folks, we're on Facebook. Please give us your comment with respect to that child support. That would mean just a great deal to us.
They can't get their car re-registered if they haven't paid child support.
And I don't know that we ever actually reviewed La La Land, Kay. We probably need to do that. What was your take on the movie?
Well, it got great reviews and it had a great trailer. So you were actually said, you were willing to go. The first two songs in that, it starts out on the freeway, and the first two songs, I was sitting there going, oh boy, this is not going to be good. But I loved it. I thought it was great.
You didn't love the first song, though.
No, but you just got to let yourself get into the movie, learn who the characters are, and then you're okay.
I was ready to go to Willis at the Grand Theater, but they didn't even have it on. Maybe they do now. I don't know. But where we went was Marketplace in Conroe, because that's where the elite
Woodlands
of society go, I think. And that's the place where several years ago, actually 2 years ago, I tripped and dropped my popcorn, my drink, and everything coming up. I went to the movie by myself and got no reaction from anyone. I mean,
it was inside the theater.
Exactly, inside the theater, and this lady sitting right there in front where I tripped and all. I mean, I'm on the ground, and I stood up and said, it's okay, nobody's hurt here. And, of course, the lady says, are you all right? Yes, ma'am. Well, and then she said, you can probably take your popcorn back and get a refill. And, yes, I could. My popcorn was everywhere, Kay. But that has nothing to do with this La La Land thing. The first song I read, I don't know, Minton. He's my favorite movie reviewer, and he's in the Courier, and I can't think of his first name, but boy, he just built up La La Land, saying from the start, the song, it's on the freeway. There's gridlock, and people get out of their cars and start dancing around and singing. I don't think I'm giving anything away there. My problem was I didn't like the song, and people are jumping on top of their cars and all, and that's really cool. But the two stars aren't singing there. Did Rosalind, what's his name, get out and sing on that?
No.
No, he didn't. And I didn't care for that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going on, and I hate it. So I sat through that, and then lo and behold, the next time they introduce, what's her name?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Love Emma Stone. Cutest actress, I think, in the world. And whenever she did that lip sync on David Letterman. Dick, did you see that? The lip sync on Emma Stone?
It wasn't on David Letterman, honey.
It wasn't, Kay. It was on not Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. She was so cute. I said, that girl is great. So that's really the big reason I went. I didn't care for the Gosling guy. Yeah. That girl starts singing with the rest of her girlfriends about whether or not she's going to go to this big party event or something. And at that point, folks, keep in mind, I went to this theater in the Marks Center, as I said, and I was probably the only man in there, and there were a lot of women, most of them old, which meant my age.
Well, it was the time of day and the day of the week that we went.
Time of day, who would be there? And let's face it, Kay, the children aren't going to go see La La Land. I went in there and I sat through that first song, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, please get a better song. And the next one it's like every other musical where girls get together and start singing. And I don't care if it's that ABBA musical or whatever, Hairspray or whatever.
Yeah.
They start singing, and I'm sitting there, and I've just finished my bucket of popcorn with a little bit of help from Kay.
I helped.
And I said, I can't really sit here for this song. I don't like it. And, they cut back and forth, and they're dancing, and they're telling the story in the song. That's what it was written for. So I got up and went out with my empty popcorn, and, and I can just see, actually, I think I overthink things, Kay. I was thinking these ladies are saying, oh my gosh, here's the only man in the place, and he can't put up with another song, so he leaves. What did he think this movie was about? Well, I came back, and let me say, here's my review. They had some better songs. The actors, you take away these two actors. I didn't know Gosling. Please tell me his first name. Brian or Ryan? Ryan. He's okay. Got a great voice, and they did some good songs there, cute as can be.
I like the dancing.
Yeah, and Minton said at the end, you'll be smiling. I didn't like the ending, and I was not smiling when I left.
Leave it at that, babe.
Leave it at that. Anything else would be telling
Say
too
no
much.
more.
I'm not saying it's one of those No Country for Old Men endings. By no means was it that, but I was not satisfied. Speaking of that, Kay, I think we need to break right into our next segment, which is about movies. I have gotten, I think that's okay, a list of the best 100 movies of the 21st century. They started in 2000, which they say isn't really the beginning of the 21st century. I don't know what is, but they said, yeah, we're going to do that. And what they did is they got 177 independent film critics to rate them. And I got to tell you, I saw several other ratings, some from individuals, and none of them, of course, matched incompletely. You know, that'd be stupid.
Sure.
But several of them chose the same movie as number one of 2011, and I'm going to share that with you, but not right now. I'm going to show you these other ones. I'm trying to find the first one that I've actually heard of was Finding Nemo, and it's the 96 out of 100 movies. And Kate, this one's 95th, and you and I really liked it. It had Bruce Willis, and you'll know the other people when I tell you, Moonrise Kingdom.
That was a cute movie.
Good. It was so unusual.
It was so quirky.
It was quirky. Wes Anderson, Norton, actor.
Yeah, Ed Norton.
Ed Norton was in it. Unbelievable. I really enjoyed it. 95th. 90th is The Pianist by Roman Polanski. And if I recall, that's the one where, I can't think of the actor, but he's in a war-torn Europe, hiding out. He's a Jew in Germany, and he plays the piano. I think that's the one.
Yeah.
Depressing as all get out, but I'm sure it was very good. I didn't see The Headless Woman. It's the 89th. I did see AI, Artificial Intelligence, by Steven Spielberg.
Didn't like it.
Kay hated it. And
way too long.
83rd. There's a director called Steve McQueen. Did you know that?
Yes.
I did not know that. I knew one Steve McQueen who's dead. And he directed a couple of movies in this century, 21st century, and one was Shame. I didn't see it. I did see The Wolf of Wall Street. It's the 78th, Martin Scorsese, and that was with DiCaprio, I believe, The Wolf of Wall Street. I did not see the 72nd, Only Lovers Left Alive. I
never heard of it.
Taboo, 71st, I don't know. I did see The Hurt Locker, ladies and gentlemen.
That was good.
7th.
That was good.
Best movie. I didn't see these others. I did see the 62nd was Inglourious Bastards, Quentin Tarantino.
Never saw it.
One of the most violent, angry movies.
Is that the movie you went to see by yourself where you spilled your popcorn?
The villain in this, we've seen him since. He was in Django. I can't remember. He plays the best villain I have ever seen, but he was good in Django because he wasn't a villain. Mean and evil. Zero Dark 30 was 57th. Moulin Rouge, Kay, we both liked that. It was a musical.
It was.
I liked the songs. 53rd. And right now, folks, I'm going to go all the way down. I'll just mention about 3 more movies and get to the 11th, number 1, when we come back from this 12:30 break, Kay. I've almost let it get by me. Ladies and gentlemen, back in a couple.
Break time, people. Restrooms are in the foyer. Back in a couple of minutes with more Hanging with the Hayters.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, and we are looking for talk show hosts and volunteer DJs for our music shows. Are you interested in having your own talk show on Lone Star, or have you always wanted to live out your dreams of being a music DJ? With the addition of Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1 and video aspects of our talk shows, we are needing people to grow with us. If you or someone you know might be interested, please contact us online at irlonestar.com/contact us, or call the station at 936-647-5747 for more information.
4 hours.
Listening to Hanging with the Hayters with Mark and Kay on irlonestar.com.
And welcome back. This is Kay Hayter on Hanging with the Hayters, and we really appreciate you doing that with us today.
I can't believe they're still here, Kay. This is just phenomenal, I tell you. Kay, I was talking about I'm going to just mention a few more of these top 100 movies by 177 different critics. And I'll skip down to 25th, which was Memento. I don't know how many of y'all saw that with Guy Pearce. This was a guy who had short-term memory, and he had to write. If something happened, he would write it down because he was going to forget it. And he'd write stuff down like, don't trust so-and-so. And it was one of these mysteries where people were out to get him. And it was I'd have to watch it again. In fact, I could. But it was very interesting. 25th. The 12th was Zodiac. That was one long, I thought it was a series, Zodiac Killer. No Country for Old Men, the 10th. I got to tell you, it was a great movie. But at the end, it was that one where in the theater, when the screen went to black, this guy yelled out the F word because he was upset at the end of the movie. And
it just stopped.
It stopped. And I thought, wow, that's unusual. So that was 10th. And number 8, I think you will all remember this. Yai, a 1 and a 2.
Never heard
of it, Kay. That was a joke. And Jim Carrey is in the 6th most famous, best movie of this century so far. And I didn't see it because Jim Carrey was in it. It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Dick, did you happen to... You saw it? What do you think?
I thought it was neat, but those kind of movies get boring to me.
Yeah, I would
like it. It was kind of, the idea was neat, and the creative force behind the movie was cool. Like after the movie, like you probably have to watch it again to really appreciate all the little things they do, where he was getting erased or things were being taken away and things like that. But watching the whole movie, I was
getting erased.
What have you seen? You remember the movie?
Huh? No, I didn't see it.
We never saw it.
Oh well, basically, I guess I just ruined it for you.
No,
that's all right.
What was cool is about Jim Carrey, and he was trying to erase the memory of this girl, and they met again. And the joke is they keep meeting after they erase each other from each other's memories, because it's like,
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where the pseudoscience of like you can erase the memory of a loved one. And so they kept erasing each other because they'd always end up badly, but they kept getting back together because they're soulmates.
Well, I'll be.
And but the editing and the creativeness into it was really neat. Like cars would disappear because they're like slowly getting erased, and he wouldn't notice. It would be like a quick shot, and things would be a little different.
Whoa, that is
so
interesting to directorial stuff.
We'll have to see if we can find it.
There is no actor I started out liking so much as Jim Carrey. Let me preface this. Let me finish that. No actor I like more than Jim Carrey that I do not like, that I ended up not liking so much as Jim Carrey. I got too much Jim Carrey, and he's just... Well, he was in one movie we really liked.
Yeah, little Jim Carrey goes a long way. Kind of like how we thought about Robin Williams.
Oh, my gosh,
he was great for the first 2 minutes. 5th
movie, Boyhood. I didn't see it. Kay would like to see it. And let me cut to the quick. By the way, I'll say the second movie because I don't think you've heard of it. In the Mood for Love was number 2 among 100. Keep in mind, folks, 177 people didn't say I liked this one. In other words, they gave each one point values, and In the Mood for Love came up number 2. There Will Be Blood, by the way, was 3. And the number 1 movie that I saw on many people's list was Mulholland Falls. Naomi Watts, first time I ever saw her, and she was great. The story was too bizarro. The ending was weirder than weird, but that is the list of 100 movies. Agree with it, don't, but that was unusual.
I think a lot of the movie reviewers, they have to see so many movies that if it's anything that's a little bit different, they gravitate to it.
Yeah.
Because they get so tired of seeing the same stuff. Right. Themes over and over again.
Kay, you're aware of this. Al is an actor. He's a member of SAG.
Al is Mark's younger brother.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my younger brother. And SAG is Screen Actors Guild, a union of actors, which you may think, oh, nobody. They need a union. I got to tell you, it is what they. Actors are starving. Please give me this, but they need certain. Parameters. I've been in movies where an actor or two is in the SAG and I'm not, which it may even be against the law, and they just treat them a little better, and There's some things you just can't do to them, and I think that's a good way to be. But I wanted to say this about it. Al he's one of the persons that can vote on movies for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. And so they send him these CDs, DVDs of movies, and he's got so many of them. And if you had time to watch them all, I don't know who could. But he gave me some of them after, I'm sure he's perused them, but to vote or whatever. Anyway, and I saw one, it was a series, 8-part series Stephen King wrote about. It's called 11/22/63, and that's the day John F. Kennedy was killed. And Stephen King wrote this thing about a guy who could enter this portal and go back and see if his deal was to kill Lee Harvey Oswald. First of all, figure out if Lee Harvey Oswald did it, and if he did, kill him. And it was a very interesting thing that I haven't seen, and I don't know if anybody would get a chance if you didn't join Screen Actors Guild and let them send it to you. Anyway, Kay, I was thinking of, and this is me taking over the show constantly from this lovely woman over here.
That's okay. I'm fine.
I'm known for one thing, and I think many haters are, and that is complaining. And I read this thing about complaining, how you can stop or curtail your complaining. And the reason you complain so much, they say, is it starts out, you complain about something, and what happens in your head, Kay, neurons that jump from one point to another. And you've got a place in your brain that's the angry part.
Okay.
You've got a happy part. And when you're depressed, that happy part neurons cannot get to your happy part. Somebody says, wow, here's $20 million and it doesn't make you happy. That's because a neuron has not hit. Well, what happens in your brain is that neurons connect, and if you start complaining about something, it makes a highway to
okay.
And it just keeps going.
It strengthens
You
it.
have built a highway to complaints to
like
where
a shortcut or something.
That is about all you do. And so it stays there thinking, okay, you're going to complain again. But if you will just, and I'm talking to me and others that may have this problem, there's a scripture, and I'm religious, yes, I am, but I don't think I think it's true of anyone, even if you're not religious. Whatever things are true, just, pure, of good report, think of these things, and if you do, that will narrow that road. It will hurt that road of neurons, and you'll actually open up another road to the happy part of your brain. Think. In other words, happy thoughts. Do the Pollyanna thing.
So the more complaining you do, the more likely you are to complain even more.
Complaining. And I know
I believe
that I think it's there so much. I went to school with a lady that I'm not joking. In the teacher's lounge, it was constantly horrible things. And I remember, and I've said this before, one day I went into the teacher's lounge and her name, this was not her name. I'm going to say Sylvia. That was not her. And Sylvia was griping, and I said, hey, Sylvia, this is a 4-day week, though. This is it's school 4-day week. You're griping us about school. And she said, oh, those are the worst. And I said, okay. I could not make her happy, Kay.
Wow.
But that was that. One thing that might make us happy is health. And let's go to the health topic, Kay. What have you got for us?
Well, I was looking at some food trends, and it seems like it's looking like a lot of the food rules that we thought were a good way to stay more healthy, turns out they're not.
Isn't that the truth?
So
that aggravates it.
That's not really a surprise, is it? But, I was hearing that dairy fat, it turns out that it's not as bad for you as they were talking about, that the trans fatty acids that are in dairy fat actually lower your risk of heart disease and can prevent cancer cells from growing. So, all this, artificial cheese that they've taken the fat out of.
Son of a gun, so cheese is not so bad?
Not so bad, of course. Now, you don't want to eat a whole pound of it at one time, or you could have some other issues.
Oh, my gosh, constipation. Don't get me started.
Yeah, let's don't talk about that. Let's not talk about that. And what else is interesting is, gluten has got such a bad reputation, and I do know several people that are gluten intolerant. They've gone through the testing, and they just really can't have it. So there are certain grains that are out there that don't have gluten. And there's one that I have heard of, but I've never seen it in the store because I just thought it was raised for cattle feed, and that's sorghum. My dad, he was raised on a farm, and they grew sorghum. But turns out, it's an ancient grain. It's high in protein, and it's got magnesium and phosphorus and iron and niacin, and it's just a really high protein thing that's got no gluten.
Okay, I have no idea what it even looks like. I've heard of sorghum. I've got a visual look.
Yeah.
But
well, I looked it up online, and I'm going to try to find some. And I hear Bob's Red Meal has it. You can get it ground into flour, or you can get it whole grain. And if you get the whole grain, you can pop it like popcorn.
Popped sorghum?
Popped sorghum.
Dick, I guess you've had popped sorghum. He's had everything else in this.
It doesn't pop up big and fluffy like corn does. So it's small.
Like little corn nuts, probably.
But anyway, it's, it's got more protein and the fiber in it. So
wow,
I'm willing to give it a go.
Okay, Kay, I am too. Next time we go to HEB, look for sorghum. We're not going to find it, are we?
All right, let's do that. Let's do that.
Along those lines of things that aren't true anymore, maybe I shouldn't interrupt you now. What have you? I was getting ready to mention something.
No, go ahead.
In 1970, 72, something like that, y'all may remember this scientist, Linus Pauling. He's the only person in the world to have won 2 Nobel Prizes all by himself. There have been some people who won a Nobel Prize and then they were linked
part of
with
a team.
Yeah, part of a team. But Linus Pauling got 2 Nobel Prizes. One was for his study of molecules. He figured out the molecular structure back in 1954 or before that of molecules, one of the first ones to come up with, these theories and all. But one thing he did in 1972 was he came up with this, after studying molecules, saying that if you will take a bunch of vitamin C, it will stave off cancer. And by a bunch, this guy started taking 40,000 milligrams a day of calcium, saying in the theories...
Calcium or vitamin C?
K, it's vitamin C, of course.
I was getting confused there.
I'm sorry, folks. Vitamin C, but I quit taking calcium, too, because that's another problem. But, and he was taking 40,000, which is, I think they were saying 50 pills a day, which they had to have over, just slightly under 1,000 milligrams a pill, and thinking that, it automatically goes out of your system. It does not store.
It's water soluble, so
your body does not store, and so they thought. And what we have since found out is, no, it is stored, and it can give you high blood pressure if you take too much of it. You can get enough vitamin C and calcium out of regular foods, but if you're not eating vegetables or stuff like that, take a little bit. But the thought that it's going to automatically go out of your body is wrong. Most of it will, much of it will, but if you overdo, it starts collecting other things. And Kate, this brings us to something I'm going to share, and this is going to, for just a couple of minutes, it has to do with your body and chemical reactions. Do you know when you breathe air, y'all know you're breathing air, what your body does with it, why your body needs air?
To get the oxygen out of it?
It needs the oxygen, but what happens is the air comes in and it reacts. By the way, air is nitrogen, 79% nitrogen. It's about 15% oxygen, and it's 1% argon. The stuff between our windows, those two windows,
argon
is
gas.
Argon.
Yeah.
The stuff in light bulbs, incandescent light bulbs, is argon because it is one of the most stable things. I think helium's more stable than that, and it doesn't react with other things, so it's really good. It's a good insulation. But what happens is your body takes in the oxygen and combines it with the, you were mentioning it's, what was the stuff you said was reacting with, not glucose, but anyway, glucose, whatever the glucose is in your body, it reacts with that and gives off carbon dioxide. It gives off carbon dioxide, which you're breathing out, but it also creates water. H2O, and it is the water that is used in your body for blood and other things. You drink it. I don't care if you weren't even drinking anything, you would still urinate some because of the oxygen that's taken in and becomes water. But here's the problem with that, Kay, and listeners, listen to this. Water is H2O, and H is the hydrogen, but it's got 2 electrons, which makes it stable. But in order to get 2 electrons, you have an odd number of electrons out there. Some electrons that were hydrogen aren't hydrogen anymore. They're just out there. They've gone beyond the nucleus and all, and they're called free radicals. And it is these free radical electrons that create great things. They go and can neutralize some bad cancers and all, can destroy some things. But what they can also do is join up with other atoms, and they start becoming troublemakers in the blood. And if you have too many of them, and vitamin C can do this too, if you got too many of them, too much vitamin C, they start attacking good cells and hurting them. And this can create... But let me say this about Linus Pauling before you do your reading thing real quick. Linus Pauling, with respect to these things, he took so much. He finally died of prostate cancer. But let me say this about it. He died at the age of 94 of prostate cancer, and he said he would have died much earlier had he not been taking so much vitamin C. So that was fascinating.
But we're not recommending anybody overdose on
we don't want you to
vitamin
do anything,
C.
actually. Just research it. Okay, you've got something. Let's have our story, and then we'll go. You've got about 4 minutes or so.
All right, I can do this in 4 minutes. I was reading the AARP magazine, which we've been getting for over a decade now.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a little article in here on David Crosby. It's a little section called My Defining Moment.
Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Yeah. And, I love their music, but I never kept up with the individuals, in the group. But he said in 1986, he spent a year in the Huntsville prison on narcotics and weapons charges. And he said, I went in addicted to hard drugs, but while I was there, I got sober. At the same time, my girlfriend, Jan, whom I'd been with for 10 years, went through private treatment in California, and she waited for me. One Sunday morning after I got out, we were lying in bed holding hands. We were really happy and in love with being alive. We had been through this long, dark passage of drug abuse together, but now we were clean and sober, and Jan was just blossoming, opening up like a rosebud. Watching her emerge untouched and still a total sweetheart, I knew I wanted to propose. So I turned to her and said, I would really like you to marry me. All of a sudden, I knew it was what I wanted to do. It was a moment of saying, this is what is important. And Jan said yes. I didn't think a piece of paper made you married, and neither did Jan. But as I said my vows, I was thinking, this is serious. I am going to keep these vows. And I've never broken them, ever. We've been married for 30 years, and we're still in love. I'm 75 and had my latest CD, Lighthouse, come out in October. I believe that the reason I've been in this good long surge of writing is that I am really happy. There's a song I wrote for Jan on Lighthouse called Things You Do for Love. A lyric in it is about another set of hands, something Jan and I thought up a long time ago. Trying to be another set of hands is about trying to be a working partner. Let's say Jan's doing the dishes and a glass starts to fall off the counter. I'm the other set of hands to grab the glass. It's about being a team. Jan and I are a team and have been from the beginning.
Wow.
I just thought that was a really sweet story.
That is a really sweet story. And I think it's a good story to end on, Kay. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been hanging with the Hayters. We thank you so much. And next week, which will be the 11th, our second show of 2017, please join us then. Kay?
Thanks for checking out this production of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star Community Radio, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, internet, TV, media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production produced by the show host and Dick Schischler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schischler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.